Plus, why some people are worried about wildfires breaking out over the winter.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Hurricane Kiko is weakening as it churns through the Pacific this morning. While the state of emergency remains in Hawaii, the risk of a direct hit is now fading. Right now, Kiko is a Category 2 storm with a maximum sustained winds of around 100 miles per hour. It is expected to weaken as it passes north of the Hawaiian Islands. That's mostly good news for Hawaii, but residents must still prepare for the chance of tropical storm force winds, heavy rain, and also high surf. And crews are taking no chances here, filling sandbags and clearing storm drains, while residents are stocking up on supplies just in case.
We're reviewing our emergency procedures, going through our checklist, checking through our staffing plans to make sure that we have all the resources and the people that we're going to need to respond to any kind of impacts.
Of course, we hope for the best, but you know, the worst thing is to not be prepared and have regrets after.
We've been through this before, so just making sure that everybody's safe, all in one place, cancel all the sporting events and things that we do just to stay home as a family.
And meantime, the Atlantic is unusually quiet for this time of year. Meteorologist Alex Cordero takes a closer look.
As for the tropics, well, thankfully, it stays pretty quiet around the Atlantic for the next 7 days. That's a little odd, admittedly, because this is the peak of hurricane season, or we're approaching it. The peak is around the 10th to the 11th. That's the historical day where we tend to see the most activity. And it's interesting to not have anything expected within 7 days. I must stress, I don't expect that trend to last very long. There are signs that mid to late September will get more active, but for now, no complaints. We'll take it.
And there is now growing evidence that climate pattern known as La Nina will impact winter weather across the country. Meteorologist John Gum shows us what that actually means.
Well, it's part of the El Nino Southern Oscillation, and it features trade winds that blow from east to west across the Pacific Ocean. Now, typically, those trade winds will blow warmer water toward Asia. That happens in any given year. However, during the La Nina years, those trade winds are especially strong. So not only do we blow that warmer water over toward Asia, we get cooler water upwelling or coming off the bottom of the ocean, rising to the surface of the ocean, taking its place. So you get this cool pool of water that develops over the Pacific. What that means is that the jet stream configuration across the country is changed quite a bit. So we get that Pacific jet, which brings moisture coming in across the Pacific Northwest and heading over into the Ohio Valley, linking up with the polar jet coming from Canada. The end result is that across portions of the northwestern and northern U.S., we tend to get cooler than normal temperatures during the winter months with La Nina. We also tend to get wetter than normal conditions across the northwestern portion of the United States, and in the Ohio Valley, we tend to see precipitation increasing. And coupled with that, across the southern tier states, La Nina winters tend to be drier than normal.
Well, a month after historic rains led to flash flooding across portions of South Carolina, residents are still grappling with the aftermath. Cameron Limes spoke with people who are still working on cleanup and recovery.
No, it was tough, man. It was tough. It's tough to come home to see on a Friday after a hard day at work. All week, you work all week, and come home and you have no home.
After major rainfall flooded Lassen's home in August, he still remembers it like it was yesterday.
But I'm like, there shouldn't be no water in the house. She says, go on FaceTime. I go on FaceTime. There's water up to her kneecaps in my house.
The water taking everything from him and his family.
I can't get nothing back, furniture back. I lost my pets, like, I'm okay.
The unit's filled with fans and dehumidifiers, running 24/7.
It's still a whirlwind. As I just took you around and showed you, I mean, there's so much to do.
The flood costing Bear tens of thousands of dollars.
Now, this is one of the several rooms that the landlord had to tear up all the groundwork for, literally tearing up thousands of dollars worth of wood and flooring just to make sure there was no more mold. And you see this wreckage behind me here. It's unbelievable.
The former tenants getting back on their feet, but unsure about moving back.
So, you know, now we're just finally getting the rhythm of things. Things are starting to look up. My wife had made a GoFundMe, and it kind of helped out a lot. It really helped us a lot. And I don't want to go through that. I don't want to put my family through that again. You know, this is like my first time ever having a family. You know, and I don't want to do that to them.
And Bear taking it one day at a time.
We're gonna make it, you know, one day at a time, good Lord willing. I mean, I'm truly blessed. Good Lord always looks out for me.
Well, in some places, the end of summer means a reduced risk of wildfire, but that's not the case in the Texas Panhandle. Jose Acala found out why officials are concerned about wildfires this winter.
Since the beginning of the year, most of the southwest region of the Texas Panhandle is on track to nearly double the amount of rainfall received. While rainfall events like the one earlier this week, where some areas saw nearly an inch, has been beneficial for firefighting crews during the summer, Juan Rodriguez with the Texas A&M Forest Service says it could be bad news once the hard freeze hits this winter.
Fuel and the moisture that we have gotten won't really matter at that point because we will be out of our growing season. The vegetation will no longer be absorbing that water, and so that water will still be in the soil, but it's not affecting the fuel. And so for that case, we are looking at an inevitable winter season, and when that happens, the fuel loading will be an issue.
When it comes to wildfires, it is not a matter of if, but when. After the record-breaking Smokehouse Creek fire last year, Rodriguez says they've been proactive, hiring more firefighters and increasing awareness. Rodriguez says now is a good time to start mitigating lands, especially for those living in the country.
Mowing, grazing, burning, looking at mitigating around your home and making sure that your home is well defended and prepared to withstand a wildfire.
And wildfire is not the only threat Texans are dealing with. There is a real concern that a flesh-eating parasite could make its way from Mexico into the U.S., causing major problems to the beef industry. Screwworms have already been reported in several states, but the risk to Texas cattle is the main concern. Harrison Parker has more.
Texas Department of Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller discussing the screwworm, a parasite affecting cattle in Mexico.
They lay their eggs in mammals, usually in open wounds. They hatch out and begin, and the reason they call screwworms is they screw themselves into the muscle meat of the animal and eat live flesh.
The screwworm has caused the ongoing closure of the Santa Teresa cattle crossing between the U.S. and Mexico since May. The port saw roughly 60% of all cattle that crossed the two countries as recently as 2022, says New Mexico Partnership. Trade there employed not only traders and feeders, but even cattle truck drivers who hauled cattle across the U.S. Trade at the port alone was worth over $600 million in 2022. The discovery of the screwworm in cattle in part of Mexico caused the USDA to completely shut the border to cattle and horses back in May. The drop in shipping is hurting ranchers and other employers across Texas, catching the government's attention. To fix this problem, Miller says the Department of Agriculture will be breeding 100 million sterile flies of the screwworm at a $750 million facility approved by Governor Greg Abbott to get the numbers of the parasite across the border down so they can reopen the crossing.
And for all the latest weather news and video, be sure to follow us on social media. We also post content from our team of 200 meteorologists across the country. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk, or you can scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, summer is almost over, and that means soon the leaves will start to change. Colors will show you how the weather could impact Wisconsin's fall foliage, and it will help you understand how lightning forms.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast. We head through the day on Monday. We are talking a spectacular day all across the Northeast. Temperatures running in the 70s for many spots. We'll have some clouds off to our south and east, but overall, we are looking at a dry day all across the Northeast with high pressure in complete control. And then for the day on Tuesday, maybe some clouds close to the coast. Another nice day, lots of sunshine expected, and high temperatures today will top out in the 70s for many spots across the Northeast.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We're going to be seeing some nicer weather across the region as we get into the next several days. Very early fall-like dry weather after a front passed through, and we'll see more sunshine. Temperatures will be a little cooler. The humidity will certainly be a lot lower. 60s in the mountains, mid-70s elsewhere, and we're not going to see temperatures much different as we head into Tuesday. Still mostly 70s except for the mountains, and again, very low humidity.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. 82 degrees in Nashville, 85 in Birmingham, 86 in Tampa, comfortable 78 in Raleigh. On the hour by hour, it looks like we're going to see plenty of sunshine across the southeast, stretching down I-95 up to I-75 through Atlanta. Over in Birmingham, looking pretty good, as well as Memphis. We will see a few spotty showers from Jacksonville south as we see that stalled out front still hanging around South Florida. So it looks like wet conditions there, but other areas nice and dry.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Here's a look at the final full moon of the summer, known as the harvest moon or corn moon. And here's a look at some petroglyphs or rock art from more than 1,000 years ago. These photos were taken in Utah's 9 Mile Canyon, which is also known as the longest outdoor art gallery in the world. The road through the canyon is about 46 miles long.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
Tornadoes may be rare in some places. Salt Lake City meteorologist Lindsay Storrs says while unusual they can happen there, she took to Instagram to tell her followers how to stay safe if one happens.
September is National Emergency Preparedness Month, so today I thought I would go over tornado safety. Let's say a tornado warning's issued for your area. Do you know the spots in your home that will keep you the safest? Areas that don't have windows and are toward the interior of the home tend to be good spots. This usually includes hallways, closets, bathrooms, and underneath stairs. The absolute best place to go to protect yourself from a tornado, though, is the basement, if you have one. Once you get to the safest area in your house, you'll want to cover yourself with blankets or a mattress to protect yourself from falling or flying debris.
It was a somber Friday in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott signed several safety bills promising change after July's deadly floods that killed more than 130 people, including dozens of summer campers. Andrew Lemparski has more.
The governor and lieutenant governor were joined by family members of the 27 young girls killed in the July disaster.
They dropped their daughters off at camp expecting to be able to see them again very soon. They had no clue they would never see those daughters again.
Governor Abbott signing 3 bills with bipartisan support into law Friday that aim to keep other families from going through the same. Senate Bill 1 and House Bill 1 regulate summer camp safety in Texas, requiring camps to keep cabins out of floodplains and build stronger emergency management plans. Senate Bill 3 requires flood sirens across the state and provides funding for communities to get them up and running.
Today, through these laws, we are doing more than just changing campgrounds in Texas. We are changing the future for our children and for their families.
And a warning from public health providers as we head into the fall hiking season. Medical reporter Liz Bonas shares what's causing tick concerns.
Hey there, everybody. Hello to you. The concern is that tick bites can bury their head into the skin and feed off your blood. And they can do this for hours and days, and you won't feel it. But you may notice this bullseye. You see this redness right here? Right around that bite. It looks just like this.
You need to get that off of your skin. If it's burrowed into your skin within 24 hours, you have a less chance of getting anything if there is disease in it.
So if you've been hiking or spending time outdoors, environmental public health specialist Jeremy Hessel says check your own skin for ticks right away, and family members too. His Ohio team has seen a jump in confirmed tick-related illnesses in the last decade go from double digits to more than 2,000 a year, mirroring a national trend.
They can spread Lyme disease, they can spread Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and some other diseases.
Tick-related illnesses are likely climbing due to everything from an increase in the kind of deer that are primary hosts for ticks to what's called habitat expansion. Ticks have expanded to higher altitudes, which means we encounter them more often. For prevention, there are a few protective products you can use on your skin and clothing. These include products with permethrin, as well as insect repellents with DEET, picaridin, and oil of eucalyptus. But even with these,
making sure you get that tick out of your skin as soon as possible is key.
Now, it is suggested you see a healthcare provider if the tick was attached to you for several hours or longer, and it looks like it's taken a meal, that rounded redness. You develop a rash or you develop flu-like symptoms, you should also see a healthcare provider. Antibiotics and antiparasitics can be used for treatment in some tick-borne illnesses. For others, you just have to manage the symptoms. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonas reporting.
Signs of fall are starting to appear from caramel apples, hay bales, and even Halloween decorations. But in part of Wisconsin, the trees are still pretty green. Meteorologist Audrey Lee tells us when the fall leaves will finally pop in the green area and how the weather affects how vibrant or muted the colors appear.
While some trees in certain areas may be showing a few spots of color, most of northeast Wisconsin isn't expected to reach peak fall foliage until early or mid-October.
They start to want to save their nutrients so they don't lose them all during the winter when the leaves drop. So they stop producing new green coloration. So when the green breaks down, we see all the other colors that are there in the leaves.
The weather plays an important role in how bright the colors will be.
There's a lot of different factors that determine how bright and how colorful different trees are. One of the big ones is the weather that occurs prior to the leaf color change, and also the weather that happens in the summer.
Cold nights are especially important.
Cold temperatures, especially at night, lead to brighter colors in leaves, but you also have to weigh that against what happened during the summer.
But frost can cut the season short.
If you get a really early freeze or frost, it could cause the trees to drop their leaves early, and then they might not get as bright as they otherwise would.
While summer weather can affect the colors, the conditions we've had lately are ideal for a vibrant fall display.
Cold nights and relatively clear sunny days. And that usually will lead, especially for red, to the brightest red colors.
The countdown is on. About a month to go. But the color pop will be here before we know it.
And fall is also when the first frost of the season takes place. Meteorologist Eric Kostriva from our Flint, Michigan station explains how it happens.
We are getting into some cooler days. Frost not likely at this time of the year when we're talking about early September, but it happens, and it has been happening in a few locations across the northern section of the United States, particularly the Midwest and the Great Lakes. As we get deeper into September, October, November, of course, the cooler weather is going to become more frequent, and so will the frost and freeze concern. So how does frost exactly form? Well, when we have air temperatures that are in the mid-30s, that may not sound cold enough for frost, but that's actually being measured about 5 feet off the ground. When you get to the actual surface, because the cooler air sinks, ground temperature is right around freezing. And when we have the water molecules, a little bit of moisture in the air, maybe after a rain, or there's just enough lingering moisture even with the cooler temperatures, that water vapor and those water droplets will touch a frozen surface and eventually form ice crystals, which is the frost. The favorable conditions for frost to form, clear skies, light winds, that moisture, as we mentioned, temperatures in the 30s or even cooler, that would lead to a freeze concern and that moisture right at the ground.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Montana.
Well, good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Not much rain across the Midwest today. We've got a few pockets of some rain, but a lot of the Midwest staying dry with temperatures in the 70s and 80s. As we take a look at what's in store for tomorrow, that kind of drifts its way a little bit more to the east, but most of the Midwest staying pretty dry here over the next few days, with temperatures slowly warming up each day as well.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at your forecast across the region and a pretty quiet week ahead across the region. The only rain chance today across deep south Texas and far west Texas out near the Big Bend region. Otherwise, it's mostly sunny skies. Temperatures in the 70s across Arkansas, 80s to around 90 elsewhere. And then as we head into Tuesday, we'll start pretty comfortable in the 60s to lower 70s. The afternoons back up in the 80s to around 90. Have a great Monday.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. An area of low pressure will make its way inland towards northern California, fueling the chance for some thunderstorms through parts of Oregon. Meanwhile, wildfire smoke will linger across parts of the inland northwest and Pacific Northwest. Daytime highs tomorrow will be climbing to about 80 degrees in Missoula, Montana, low 80s from Reno, nearing that triple-digit mark near Las Vegas, and 105 in Phoenix by this afternoon. Highs will be climbing in the upper 80s in Denver and Albuquerque.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Even though fall is on the way, storms full of lightning are not on vacation. They can happen all year round. Meteorologist Brett Luna explains how lightning forms.
So first, warm air rises, and this eventually can produce storm clouds. Up in these thunderstorm clouds, the ice particles and water droplets collide, and these collisions cause the positive and negative charges in the clouds. The positive charges, those position themselves at the top of the cloud, and the negative charges, they set up at the base of the cloud. And then way below the cloud on the ground, those are a lot of positive charges down there. The energy from the negative charge meets the leader from the positive charge that's coming up from the ground. This creates that lightning flash. These are negative strikes, but you can also get positive lightning strikes too. That's when a positive charge from the storm's anvil meets a negative charge on the ground. Also, wanted to give you some quick facts about lightning too. Lightning can heat the air it passes through up to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
And we love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back.